forces of darkness, how they get in. And we talked about the principality, which means to rule, to be a chief in time, place, rank, and order. And then, after the principality gets in your space and influences you, then here comes the power, the authority. And what it does, it exercises authority over the people who are under the principality. They work through compulsive or impulsive desire. By using these obsessions, he can bring about unreasonable, illogical, selfish behavior within the victims. The imagination is greatly used by this evil spirit of power. Gets in your imagination, and the Bible tells you to cast down vain imaginations and every high thing that would exalt itself against the knowledge of Christ, and bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of him. There's nothing wrong with your imagination being used, but he said when it's vain. So you do understand your imagination is to be used only for progressive work. Your imagination is to be used to show you how to shift, change, make things better, take situations to places that they have not been before. Your imagination is not to be used to just sit back and think about stuff that you used to do that was not productive, or think about stuff that you want to do that is not productive. Your imagination is not to be given over to that. It is to be used to show you how to develop and to go forward. My imagination is not to be used to think about what I used to do when I was unsaved and figure out how. You see, your imagination is such a powerful thing. It stirs up all of the chemicals and hormones and the systems in your body. So you can get the imagination going, and you can get yourself into a semi-high. You can get your imagination going and take yourself into a sexual climax through your imagination. You see, your imagination is a powerful thing. So God said casting down anything that's not going to take you further. If it's got hold of your imagination, God said you need to cast that down. Vain and wicked imaginations, where you're sitting back thinking about how you can get somebody back because of what they did to you. That's a vain imagination. That's a wicked imagination. Thinking about things that are non-productive, wicked imaginations. God gave you your imagination so you can help subdue the planet. And when you have proper imagination, then you are to then put a form, put plans to those things you have imagined. And when you put a plan in place because of what your imagination has brought forth, then you can put it into action. And once you put it into action, you can see some things accomplished. And you can also do the same thing with vain imaginations. You can, evil imaginations, as Micah said. People lay on their bed and develop evil imaginations. In other words, they lay on their bed and figure out how they can do something to somebody else to get them back for a real or imagined something that this person has done to them. So God said, casting down vain imaginations. I'm not to be trying to figure out how I can get back at my wife or husband because of something I didn't like. I'm not supposed to be trying to figure out how I can get my wife or husband to do something that's evil or wicked, or my children. Children will operate in vain imaginations, trying to play the games with their parents. And you have to be understanding that they're doing that and know how to grab hold of that little monster and put it in check. Because if you don't, they'll do that when they get older and create all kinds of problems. So you have to understand the imagination is a powerful thing. But once that power gets hold of you and works in your imagination, it'll take you away from the divine order of moving forward. You were never designed to be static. You were never designed, because of the almost unlimited things that can be generated on the planet, you were never designed to be put in a place to where you don't move anymore. The way the world trains, they train people for specific jobs, or they don't train them so that they'll always stay in a specific place so that they can keep you in whatever area of lack of growth, they want you in. That's how they work. You see, that's how the world system works. Now, I know that as we look at the world system, we say, well, it's a good system. In many respects, it is. But I want you to remember this. The world system is designed to give some people a leg up to here and to keep 90% of the people down here. That's the way the world system is designed. It is not designed to give all of us the opportunity to use all of our abilities. The world system is designed to keep you in a particular place and then have you to idolize those who have achieved stuff way up here. That's how the world system works. Now, God's system has the ability to let you be you, and we can all walk in this army with him, but yet we know how to stay cohesive. He can let you keep your mind, keep your abilities, keep who you are, but he'll cause you to be trained to the extent that we'll know how to work together while we remain the individual. And what the world does, it wants to take your individuality away and have all of us looking the same way. The world wants you to wear the same kind of pants, same kind of shirt, same kind of hat. It wants you to wear the same kind of bandana on your head, wants all of you to dance the same way. God said, I want you to be an individual and let your imagination take you from glory to glory to glory, but yet stay a part of the group, yet stay a part of the collective. Now, only Jesus Christ and his system can do that. People pull you from one place to the other. They get you into all kinds of things to have you thinking that you're in a place of freedom. But in actuality, you're just following that leader who is in bondage themselves. So you've got to understand how to let your imagination work for you. When that authority gets hold of you, that power, it locks you down. Then there comes the might. That's the miracle working power. That's the dunamis. That's the force that compels people to sin. Once it gets you locked down, now it compels you to sin. You can't even stop that sin. It seems like it's just an overpowering force. You seem like you just can't get beyond it. You'll be doing all right for a while, and then all of a sudden this thing comes and it's like you are just compelled. You've got to go do that thing one more time. You've got to go play that number one more time. You swear you ain't gonna buy no more tickets. And then what you do, you go to a store somewhere where folk don't know you, and you come in and you buy your ticket and you do your thing because that demon has got you, that power has got you. And it's the same thing with anything else. If you, the soap opera will operate like a might. That thing will have you under its authority, and you will record it. You'll break your neck to get back home to see it because that thing has an addictive personality. It's the same thing with pornography. You get up under that stuff, you can't get away from it. And you're like, my God, I said I won't ever do this again. All of a sudden, here comes those thoughts. If you've been a drinker and you said, I ain't gonna ever drink anymore, then the next thing you know, you say, well, I ain't gonna drink no real alcohol. I'm just gonna get this beer with no alcohol in it. But you want that taste. The taste is what's addictive. And you get that taste, and what you have done, you've only gotten a half of what that demon brings. The demon brings the taste and the alcohol. They took the alcohol out, left you with the taste. So what you're doing, your imagination is making you high because you're getting the taste of that thing. You have to understand how you're made now. You can't let your imagination go where it should not go. You have to decide what your eyes are going to look at and how you're going to allow your imagination to work with it. I have to decide how I'm going to see the female. That's my decision. And no matter how she looks, I still have to determine what I'm going to let come into my eye gate and how I'm going to respond to it once I see it. Now, you will have moments, brothers, where she will just catch you off guard because she's just made like that. And when you look, you say, oh my God. But you, in your imagination, determine how long you let the oh my God stay there. That's up to you. you then have to take your mind and go somewhere else, because if not, that, oh my God, will cause you to now be following her. And if you can't follow her physically, you will in your mind. And you'll be going everywhere she's going, and then every time you see anything that looks like that skirt she had on, you're looking at it. And see, here is another problem. If you have gotten addicted and you saw that skirt she had on and she's looking a certain way, then all of that's in your mind and your imagination is working. So now here comes somebody with another skirt on like that, and you are looking, but then you find out that it's a man, it's not a woman. You see, you got to understand how your imagination works. And before long, he don't look too bad. You better watch how that mind works, because it ain't no joke now. It's a powerful thing. And you better understand what you need to do with it, because it can send you or bring you. So I have to train my mind, have to keep my mind under subjection all the time. And I have to constantly renew it. And I have to look at her and let her create my movies in my mind. I have to think about who she is and how she takes me and brings me, and keep her at the forefront of my mind, and that's how I keep control of myself. Because if I don't, and I'm going to show you why you got to do that in just a moment. Well, that miracle working power, that force that compels you to sin, when you're no longer capable of resisting through your own will. You're drawn into sin through the passions, the emotions. So your passions and emotions, they grab hold of you. Your emotions are strong and awesome things. And when they get going, now you're fearfully and wonderfully made. God did not make you a robot. You have passions, you have emotions, and they stir. And they move up and down like this, and it determines what the environment is, what your atmosphere might be, what the climate might be. Your passions will move differently based on even the weather outside. When it's nice and sunny, people smile more. People tend to be friendlier. That vitamin D does something in the body. The sunshine, it creates a different atmosphere. When it's depressed and it's dark and dreary, people think differently. They feel differently. You see, everything about this world you live in affects the way you respond to stuff. It affects your emotions. And if you sit in dark, dismal places, you will cause certain hormones in your body to decrease, and you will feel depressed. You will be beat down. That's why it is necessary. You see, light, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. The whole world lieth in darkness. And he said, the people that walks in darkness have seen a great light. People that live in darkness and live in gross darkness. There is a gross darkness that people live under, and they have to force themselves to smile through this gross darkness. I believe that this is where we live. In this part of this state, I believe that there is a gross darkness because, for one thing, all of the demonic forces came in from the ocean. Marine spirits. The place was settled from the ocean. They didn't fly in on planes. They go to the middle of the country. They came in on boats and came in on the shore. So all the demonic forces, all the witchcraft, voodoo, and all that stuff started on the coast. And it came inland. So we have more warfare coming against us by where we live than any other part of the country. The coastal areas have tremendous warfare. And when the storms come in, they come in and they push that stuff in, just like down the Gulf Coast, all of that jet stream and all this other stuff, it comes in and it brings this stuff inland. It came from out there and come into here. So always remember, it's the coastal areas where the demonic forces started. In other words, the outer reaches of the land is where the forces started. Always know that the demons and devils are going to start with your body pretty much first. And they're going to try to get you up under whatever. And they will shift and change your physical feelings and your hormones, etc., and cause you to feel different than what you really are trying to feel. And if you don't know how to put your imagination in gear and make yourself have some sunshine, you will be up under that spirit of depression. And then you've got to find people who are the purveyors of sunshine. But most of the time, whenever you down and out, you look for folk who are down and out. Whatever you're struggling with, you look for folk that's got the same kind of issues. And get mad with folk when they come up in your face smiling because you want to be sad. You want to be depressed. Why you come up here messing with me? I am in a state of depression and I want to be here. I like being here and I'm trying to draw some other folks so we can have a depressed mess up in here. And that's how we'll think. And we know that that's so. And just by some of the way some of y'all are looking at me, I know that's the way you think. Because it hits you, that's the way I am, and you couldn't even smile. You couldn't even say that's right. Because you love that depression and those demons so good. When somebody is exposing what you are all about, your demon gets mad and makes you not even smile. You show no facial expression, just poker face. I know it's true, but I can't wait to get out of here so I can go home and get sadder. So that might holds you captive. Then there's the dominion. That's the mastery. That's where people are finally brought into the fullness of the iniquity in each separate area of their personality by dominion of this spirit. This spirit is to gain total control of the person's life. This spirit keeps you to where you can't stop what you've been doing. Now, it does not mean that you are demonically possessed. Let me tell you what possession. These are the 7 things that we've discovered in the New Testament that indicates possession. Double voice. In other words, the person can speak in other languages they have not learned. Clairvoyance. They're able to see things. Remember the man that was possessed? And here came Jesus. And he said, Jesus, we know that's you. Have you come to torment us before the time? They were able to know things that others did not know. Now, I wrote the meaning of this word down, and I forgot where I wrote it, but you all look it up. Paroxysms. Paroxysms. And I wrote my meaning down because I was reading an old book and got this, and I don't know where I wrote it down. And then they have great bodily strength. They're able to do things when they're up under that demonic influence that they couldn't do ordinarily. That's why I know most of us, we're not demonically possessed. We got a lot of demonic influence. Because the demonic forces we deal with makes you tired and sick and weak. You ain't fighting nothing. You ain't got no great bodily strength. You ain't even got enough strength to get here on Sunday morning. so I know we ain't got no real demon possession. We got demonic influence, and that demon will suck your energy out. And you're like, oh, Lord, I want to go to church this morning. I am so tired. What in the world happened? I went to bed feeling good last night. Now I am so get out. That's demonic influence. You see? And then there is the resistance to divine things. People that are demon-possessed, they don't like the things of God. They are not going to hear them, not going to have them. You remember the Exodus when they pulled the cross out and threw the holy water on Reagan, and the demon went to acting up? Well, see, I'm talking about real demon possession. And then there is exorcism during attacks. In other words, when that thing flares up, you can actually cast that thing out. And once the demonic force is gone, then you have complete cure after the demon is gone. Because it said that Jesus cast the demon out and the man was clothed in his right mind in the same hour. Now, you see, I know we are not demon possessed. Because we've been praying for some of y'all for years. You ain't in your right mind yet. So there's not demon possession. That's just hard-headed. That's just hard-headed. So we ain't got no demon possessed folk. I mean, we are demonically influenced. Because once that demon acts up and you cast that thing out, the person comes back to themselves. So I had to understand this, because then I had to come to realize that God said, son, he said, most of the folk you all deal with in the black church, they ain't demon possessed. He said, they are stiff-necked and hard-headed. They just won't do what they're told to do. He said, that's their problem. He said, it ain't demons. He said, they're demons influencing. The demon has gained dominion and throwing stuff at them to where they just won't yield to my word. You see, a person that's demon possessed, they cannot yield to God's word until somebody comes in with a greater power and casts it out. They can't do that. You see, and when I say possessed, I mean totally taken over. Now, there may be some demonic entities in certain parts of your body. I believe that we can have diseases and there can be certain demonic forces in that organ in your body, but it doesn't possess you. It only has control of that organ. It has control of certain operations in your body, but it does not control you to where you have no power over yourself. You just don't have any power over that kidney or that pancreas or whatever, and you can't get that diabetes straight because there may be something that's invaded there. Now, when we get to talking about how these curses get in here in just a minute, you're going to see that being born again by the blood of Jesus Christ, the grace of God only gives you a ticket to heaven. Every time, based on Romans, you go back and participate in sin, you invite that same thing that you were trying to get away from to start up again. So you can't get rid of certain things because we won't get rid of certain behaviors. So those sicknesses and diseases continue to permeate your life, and it's not possession, it's demonic influence, and you can't get free from it. Because God said in Deuteronomy 28, he said, if you do what I say, I will take these sicknesses and diseases away from the midst of thee. When he told them that in Exodus, when he said I'll take them, that word take means I'll stop it where it is and call it back from where it's gone. So he said that sickness and disease, I will tell it when you come to me and you're born again, I tell it, stop right there. Don't go any further because they've come into my kingdom. Then what's supposed to happen? We're supposed to start to teach you and educate you on how this stuff works. So where he told it to stop, now the education in the word calls it back, and it starts to back up off of you. But most times, whatever sicknesses and diseases we have, when we come into the church, they start moving further forward. We can't get rid of them. Now, if this book is true, and he said, I'll stop it where it's gone, and when you get knowledgeable of the word, I'll call it back, make it reverse itself. Why are we taking more medicine, going to see more doctors today than we ever have in the church, and can't seem to get our money? I say it's because of a lack of true teaching of the word of God and being stiff-necked and hard-headed. Because I believe we lack entertainment in the church, and we have no interest in doing what the word said. Jesus said, if you want results, you got to do what I do. He said, I don't do anything of myself. I only do what I've seen my Father do. He said, I only judge after I've seen him. He said, I do nothing of myself. Most of what we do is of ourselves. It's what we want, how we want it, when we want it. We are selfish, self-centered, egomaniacal, self-absorbed. It is about us. And we say, God, I ain't studying you. I don't want that. I ain't doing that. God said, well, I stopped this thing when you got saved, but I can't hold it back if you keep doing what you were doing over here. If you keep thinking like you were thinking over here, I stopped that disease, said you can go no further, but as you continue to do the things that you should not be doing, this thing is going to continue to progress because you're doing the things that feeds it. He said, I can't stop it. So we have stuff going on with us because of us. And then we say, well, you got to die with something. Well, in the American church you do, because that's the way we teach. And that's the way we think. And I really do believe that we can step over into a place that this thing is so simple that it ought to work for everybody that comes into the church. It ought to just be like that. One of the basic principles I believe that we ought to be putting in place as children of God in the church is that anybody that comes in and gets saved, the first thing that should happen, a basic tenet of faith, is healing. That's basic. We make a big fuss about getting healed, but Jesus said, these are the ABCs. When you come to me, these are the first things I give you. And then he said, you're supposed to be growing to become the weos, the sons of God, the mature sons of God. He said the whole creation is groaning, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God, meaning the weos, the mature sons of God. So is your body created? Yes, it is. So your body is waiting for a mature you on the inside to stop that's going on in the outer court. Now, suppose we had some of us that had reached that place of maturity, and then we were teaching others and imparting it. Then we'd be reproducing after our own kind. Then this thing should work just like Jesus said it would. Now, when I studied the apostles, the 12 apostles, he gave all of them the power to go out and lay hands on the sick and they recover. Even in pagan countries, they laid hands on people and they got healed. And then they gave those gifts to people in those countries. And the people started doing the same thing they did because they had faith to believe that these men could impart that to them. In the church today, we look for people to do it for us. You know why? Because we have a patient doctor mentality. Now what we want to do is go to the doctor, let the doctor do it. Let the doctor examine, let the doctor poke, let the doctor prescribe, and then we come back and take what the doctor gave and say, well, you know, the doctor prescribed this and it's doing this for me, but I'm having these other side effects. Jesus said, I have no side effects. If you do what I say, my medicine is clean. It's pure. It has no other toxins. It'll fix you. It'll deliver you. But it's about this. The doctors give you stuff in your body for things in your body. Jesus gives you his word for things in your mind, which moves what's in your body. So I believe the problem is up here. I don't believe the problem is my pancreas.